Alrighty, we are recording. So today is Monday Mindflow, and I will be speaking about families like not believing in you, going against everything that everyone is telling you to in order to pursue your dreams and really create the life of your dreams, and just standing in your power and really just staying confident in your mission. So number one is like you have to know your why. And I know that we say this all the freaking time, but it is the most important part because if you don't know why you're doing this and it doesn't make you cry and make you emotional and make you really, really committed to feel like nothing can stop you, then when your family and your friends are doing things like I was just talking to Rachel before we started recording, like my stepmom did not believe in this water. She thought it was snake oil. She thought basically I was scamming people and didn't even let me hook up my machine at first. So I had to go against everything that my family was telling me when I was living at home to eventually move out on my own to even be able to fully dive into this health-wise as well. I was like staying with business partners in order to even drink the water and spending half of the month at other people's homes so I could drink Kangen water. So like that was a big roadblock for me, but I knew that it had to be done if I wanted to stay strong in my mission and like why I was doing this, because I had to know that what I was doing was real. And I had to be super, super confident in what the water was capable of, specifically in our business, and just what I was capable of in employing, what this water does to help people. So also, no one is going to see your vision. So something that I learned from a Gary Vee podcast probably about 2 or so years ago was no voices allowed. And this is something that I preach to all of my downlines constantly because it's that important. Like you have to not think of anybody else's opinion. Example, like I'm going to keep bringing like my personal examples because I really went through a lot of roadblocks when I started this business from my family. I didn't tell them how much money I spent. Then when I did, I told them I only spent $2,000 and I started with a trifecta that cost me 10 and a half grand. And they thought I was crazy. And I went full force and I was getting job offers from everywhere. Like I got fired from my sales job. I was making really good money at the time, 22, making like 40K a year and living at home. So I didn't have any bills. So like it was good money for not having any bills. And I lost my job a month in my business, hadn't made a sale yet. And everyone thought I was insane because I wasn't taking job offers that were potentially 6-figure jobs. And I just knew that what I had in the future would be worth way more than 6 figures that I could earn working for somebody else and allowing somebody else to provide my livelihood for me. So I had to stand true in that belief. And honestly, one of the things that really helped me stand in that truth, because I had nobody, like I was not really super deep into the community when I just started. I was a month in. I didn't have all the amazing people and friends that I have now. Like we weren't traveling together yet. Like I was literally brand new. So I was by myself. I didn't have friends that understood what I was going through. So what I did was I really checked what I was learning from and everything that I was taking in. So I checked my social media feed. I checked the music I was listening, the movies I was watching, the shows I was watching, literally every type of media I was taking in, including my self-talk, including the conversations that people were trying to have with me. I literally stopped allowing certain conversations in my life. I stopped allowing my stepmom to talk about the water with me. Like, that's what I did. I was just like, listen, if I pay my bills, like, don't say anything about what I'm doing and I'll make money. You'll see. And I wouldn't even have the conversations. Like I wasn't arguing. I just didn't put any energy towards it. And I think that one of our first instincts is to argue, not really argue, but like try to fight your case and try to get someone else to believe in what you believe. But the truth is no one is going to see your vision like you will. So stop trying to convince people because it's a waste of energy that you could be putting into your business, and start working with the willing, as Chris always says, and start really talking to the people who are actually open-minded enough to listen, because that energy is going to pay off so much more than trying to convince your friends and family that what you have is liquid gold, because it is, and just let them see for themselves. As long as you stay true to your mission, then your business is going to grow into what you envision it as right now, and they're going to see that. Like there's no way they're not going to see that when the checks start coming in. I know when checks started coming to my house, my dad was like, oh, so this is real, huh? Like, yeah, it's definitely real. And then of course he started meeting people, I started traveling, and it all became a lot more tangible to them, because what we're doing isn't your typical business. It's not your typical, it's not a job, and it's not your typical career path, especially with a product that basically nobody knows about and is completely new, like health and wellness product. So we really have to see that it might take time and true education for people to understand what we're doing. So definitely no voices allowed, like trusting yourself, and honestly brainwash yourself with positive podcasts, with involving yourself in conversations with your peers here in Enagic, in our community that we've built that is so dope and so strong for you guys. Find an accountability partner. Like find somebody that you might have similar situations with your families that you're dealing with and you can talk with. That's definitely super helpful. And it'll help you grow your bond with people on the same mission as you, which is just priceless. And also know that, like, don't take it personally that they don't understand, because it's out of love. Like, it truly is. Like, the reason that they might be arguing against it, or they might, you know, like, I know my stepmom got like really, really upset and like printed out PubMed articles about alkaline water and how everything we were doing is just so fake and it's like unethical and like all this stuff. And like, I had to go against that while living in her house. You know what I mean? I had to stay strong in that. But I had to also know that she just didn't see it, and that it was because she loved me and she was fearful that I would get hurt. She was fearful that I would fail, that I would be embarrassed, that I would literally embarrass myself to my Instagram, to my friends and family, my neighborhood, and that I would become broke. Like, she was scared I wouldn't make money, that, you know, just none of it would work out how I wanted. So it wasn't really like she was hoping that I would fail. It was more so that she just couldn't see it, and she just wanted to protect me, because that's what our families and our friends want to do, is they just want to protect us. And a lot of the times we don't recognize that they're projecting their fear of failure and their fear of the unknown onto us and to our journeys. So we have to really separate our relationship with those people from what we're doing. Because I know that every day I wake up and I do this business because it's going to help my family. They don't understand it yet, and I'm okay with that. I actually, my stepmom now, and I've brought her up a lot in this conversation because she was my biggest critic, and I had to move out of my house to really hook up my machine and stuff. But it was my birthday on Saturday. Friday, I was over at my parents' house, and they finally agreed to drink the water. It's been 2 years. Like, it's been 2 years, and now they are willing to drink the water. And that is a huge turning point from someone who was literally upset and like, you know, trying everything against me to like not let me tell people about this water. And now she's willing to try it, which it goes to show that it just takes time, consistency, and true belief in what you're doing. Because when you work with the willing and you start to build a team and you start to sell to customers and you start getting testimonials, they're going to recognize, and you can share those testimonials and you can be proud about the results that you have had, even if it just comes down to connecting with people in our community. And even that maybe you haven't made a sale yet, or you haven't gotten a testimonial from someone yet, but maybe you have my testimonial. Maybe you have Chris's sister's testimonial, Chelsea's, Sierra. Like, so many of us have personal testimonials from this water. We can lean on that when you're just getting started. So you don't have to feel like you have to have it all figured out. Like, imposter syndrome is real, and it doesn't matter if you've already made money yet or not. Like, you're going to feel it at some point in your business. Like, what you're doing is almost not real, because it's so different from what normal society is. So And then also, like, you have to think, do you want what they have? Like, whoever is telling you that you can't have what you want, do you want what they have? Really ask yourself that, because 9.5 out of 10 times you don't. You don't want anything they have. And again, they're just projecting their fears. And sometimes if they don't love you, it might also be jealousy. If you have that random person that DMs you and is like, what you're doing is fake, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's gonna happen at least once. And that's okay. Like, there's gonna be haters. That's just the natural thing when you're doing something different, and especially when you're doing something that's so powerful. You're going to have people coming out of the woodworks and testing you, because you have to be tested in order to hit the next level of who you're supposed to be. That next level of belief, that next level of certainty has to come from tests. It's not going to be easy. It's not just going to, you're not just going to have it naturally. Like, we have to work for these things. Anything that's worth it, we have to work for. So that's naturally going to come up. And it's totally normal. So don't take other people's opinions personally when you know that they just don't see what you see. And they will eventually. And then lastly, like, I'm sure you've heard this, you are the only one that has to live with your life. You're the only one that has to live with your choices. You're the only one that, if you choose to listen to your parents, and I'm not hating on college, but let's say most of our parents wanted us to go to college, get a good job, get a career, all this stuff. Like, I was a college dropout, and there was a lot of people that hated on me for that. And not even directly to my face, but like, my school was paid for by volleyball and I still dropped out. It just did not resonate with me. And that's okay. It's okay that we're different. Like, we were literally chosen to do this business. Like, Kangen, you've heard it before, it will keep coming to you until you're ready. So you know that you're special and that you were chosen to do this right now before it even hits, we're on an up curve right now in Kangen, visibility, but we're still on the rise. And you're here early on where, our sales went up 300% in March as a company and continue to rise since then. And you're a part of that either during it or before, during a pandemic. Like, that right there is proof in itself that what you're doing is something special. So it's sometimes really easy to let the opinions of those that we love especially get to us, but we really have to separate our role in what we're doing with Kangen from our role as a sibling, as a daughter, as a son, as a even spouse, as a friend. Like, we have to separate those two roles. They're completely different. You can still be a great freaking friend and not agree with something that your friend is saying, even if it's a life path that they've chosen. And honestly, if there's a path that your friends are on, the people that are around you in your hometown, especially if you've never left your hometown, if they're on a different path that isn't resonating with you anymore, it's totally fine to let them go. You're going to outgrow people, and it's going to hurt like hell. Like, it's really going to hurt. It's not going to feel good, but it will feel good in a few months when you start attracting the people that are really aligned with you, and you can release those old friends that were really just holding you back. But the truth of it is when you allow those people to continue in your life, they're not the ones holding you back. You're holding you back. You're holding you back by allowing them to take up space that you could be filling with people that are supporting your mission. Because when it comes down to it, it's really not that hard to be open-minded, but people are stuck in their ways. And we can't get away from some of them, like our friends, our family, that we're just really tight with. Like, some of them, they're going to be in our life, but we can still separate the role of what we're doing and our vision that we really truly believe in and who they are in our life. So I also just wanted to touch on some tips. So I know I already mentioned, like, auditing all of your media. So go on socials and unfollow the people from your hometown that are not doing you any good. Like, if all they're doing is posting, smoking, drinking, like, the same old stuff, they're not going far in their life, like, they're stuck. And it's okay. Like, we all go out and have fun. Like, we all like to go out and have fun. Like, that's okay. But like, when that's the only thing they're doing and they're literally not working towards any goals at all, and they're in the same place they have been since high school, like, release them, please. Like, they're not doing you any services, none. And I know that it's really hard to let go of some people. And at some point, it's probably going to feel like you're trying to drag them along. Like, before you can actually release them, it might feel like you're dragging them along, but you can't. The only thing that you can do is lead by example. You can just make your dreams happen for you and then spread to the people closest to you. So that's actually called the circle of influence. So you have to start within and change you, and then the closest people, and then they spread it to the next people, and then it just continuously builds and builds like wildfire. But we can't start telling other people what to do. We have to show them and lead the way, by example. And all of us on this call that are taking the time for their business today, you all have the leadership skills or the ability to learn those leadership skills to put on a good example and really create a change within your community, within your life, within your family. Because now my stepmom that didn't believe anything that I was doing, didn't trust in what I was doing or just who I was as a person. I dealt with a lot of mental health issues. I dealt with a lot of things I had to overcome, and I became this person. She comes to me for advice. She's a grown woman. She comes to me now and asks me for advice about my family and about different situations because I've been able to prove myself. And honestly, it sucks that we kind of have to prove ourselves, but a lot of us are on the younger side. So all of our older family members are looking at us like, oh, yeah, I've lived this many years and you've only lived this many years. I'm sure we've all heard that type of, spiel before. Like, I have this much experience in life, but like, at the end of the day, it's not always the years that count. It's what we do with them. And it's the people that we connect with them. And we don't always have to learn from our direct experience. I've learned so much by having friends from everywhere and connecting with people through this community that I didn't have to go through everything myself to gain the experience and knowledge that I can employ in my business and teach people and show people through my actions. So just changing your atmosphere that you're in every day makes such a big difference because you're constantly absorbing in your subconscious mind everything that you're listening to, your self-talk, your social media that you're reading, the stories on socials that you're watching, your movies, your TV shows. Like, if you look at a lot of Netflix shows, like, honestly, it's a lot of ideals that are constantly being blasted. Like, they have agendas, right? Like, we all know this. Like, everything you're watching has an agenda. And subconsciously, whether you are consciously absorbing it or not, your subconscious is absorbing it. So every time that you're watching something, listening to music, I realized that I was listening to music that was just depressing, or I'm listening to music that's just not constructive. Like, it's talking about partying. It's talking about, it's glorifying a lifestyle that I don't want. So why am I listening to it every day? It's not what I want. So I switched all my music. I listened to Russ, Big Sean, Janae Aiko. Like, I listened to, songs and music that is about manifestation and about visualizing things for the future and about building up humanity. So that's exactly, Sky, like, music is mantra. Like, it literally, everything, words are spells. Everything that we are speaking and everything that we are talking to ourselves, our self-talk, is so important. And sometimes we're told something so much repetitively by the people around us that we start to believe it, and it becomes our first reaction. Your first thought is not you. Your first thought is not your conscious mind. That is your reaction that you've been conditioned to believe. So when your first thought is something negative, don't blame yourself. Accept it, give yourself grace, and replace it with a better thought. Replace it with an I am statement. Replace it with something that is uplifting and positive, because it's so easy to get sidetracked with other people's thoughts and lose what we truly believe in. because we're hearing so many conflicting opinions. So meditation, I know a lot of us on this call meditate daily. That's a extremely important practice to really go inside yourself and learn yourself, because you're completely alone with your consciousness. It's just you and your consciousness, and you get to listen. And a lot of times when people first start meditating, they will be hearing things that aren't their thoughts. And you just have to surrender to the experience and allow them to come and go, and recognize, what you want to hold on to. Like, what do you want to live by in your life? Hold on to those thoughts and build more of those thoughts. Affirmations really helped me as well. Some people think they're woo woo, but again, like, you can literally reprogram your mind. If anyone listens to Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks about how you can literally create new synapses in your brain by literally reprogramming your mind. So all of your subconscious work in your meditations, in your affirmations, your subconscious mind is the most vulnerable when you first wake up and right before you go to sleep. So when you are able to meditate at those times, do your affirmations at those times before the world gets to touch you, before you open up your social media and all of a sudden you're influenced by the first thing you see on your feed. Like, try not to do those things. Like, really try to, journal, like, do gratitude journal, look at your vision board. If you don't have a vision board, I highly recommend creating one, filled with things that surrounding your why and what your future is going to look like. When I made my vision board, when I first started my business almost 2 years ago, I completed every single thing on it before the year was up, because it hung right. I had two of them actually. My bed was in the corner and they were both the walls above my bed. I did every single thing except for one thing, because I chose that I didn't want to do it at the time. Like, I wanted to put it off to a later date. But every single thing on that vision board, otherwise, I did. So it's extremely powerful to constantly program your mind. Like, if you're having problems with negative thought patterns or allowing people to sway your thoughts or influence your actions, start putting up post-it notes at every doorway in your house. Like, start setting reminders on your phone that go off 3 times a day that, have a mantra that you want to follow. When I was going through a lot of character development, when I was like healing from mental illness, I would do affirmations, and I would also create mantras that had to do with building that specific characteristic. So for me, it was really gaining like poise, like gaining that patience and poise with interpersonal interactions. So I used to be a really reactive person, and I wouldn't really think before I would respond. I would just allow thoughts to come and I would just speak them. And I realized that that wasn't a way that I wanted to operate. It wasn't giving me the results in my life that I wanted. So I started posting everywhere, like poise is power, like the strong, I forget exactly what it was, but I still have it written down on my board. But it was like the strong and thoughtful mind it was something like that. It was really good. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna post it on the recording, but it was a really good one. But anyway, I really wanted to build that poise and patience. So I literally just posted mantras everywhere and would write reminders on my phone so that I would see it pop up multiple times a day. And then I became that person who would think about what I was saying before I would say it. And I would really just give myself a few moments before replying to something important. And it really changed the results that I was getting in my life. So just taking the time to just reprogram yourself and put yourself as the student again. Just becoming that eternal student and setting your life up so that you're not relying on other people to change who you are. Like, you're taking the wheel. A lot of people are just skating through life and they're just allowing whatever outside influences to create who they are and how they live. Like, we're not like that. Like, we are not those type of people. That's why we're doing something completely out of the status quo. So we have to be strong enough to create those daily habits and those routines and, those mind habits, I guess, like just reprogramming your mind. We have to create those habits in order to change who we are. And then, I mentioned the 6-phase meditation before, but that one is extremely powerful. It has multiple parts to it, where it's compassion, forgiveness, envisioning your next 3 years, which has really, really helped me get clear on my vision, especially doing it twice a day. And then your perfect day, and then asking the universe for that. It's called the 6-phase meditation, Rachel. So it's by Vishen Lakshmi. I'm not sure that's how you, yes, 6-phase meditation. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce his last name, but he is the owner of Mind Valley, and they're actually a really, really good resource. Yeah, you've probably heard of Mind Valley. Yeah. So he's the CEO of them, and he created the 6-phase meditation. You can find it on YouTube as well, but he also has a free course on it in Mind Valley, and they also have an app. It's extremely, extremely helpful to get truly tapped into flow and tapped into the life that you want to create. Because every day, if you're constantly thinking about what you want, then you're not going to go against that. It's the same thing. I was talking to my stories the other day about, going to a therapist. Like, when you have that third party that you're being held accountable by, you're going to make a lot less stupid decisions because you have to face that person every day. And it's basically like facing your consciousness every day, like twice a day. When you wake up and when you go to sleep, you're facing your consciousness and saying, this is exactly what I want. It's a lot harder to go into that day and do everything against what you want. Like, what it's going to take to get those things. What it's going to take. So when you're constantly reminding yourself of what you want multiple times a day, it's a lot harder to go and do the things that might be easy to do. They might be tempting, but then instead using the self-control to, before you go to bed and you do that meditation again, that you don't feel embarrassed by yourself and you don't feel like you let yourself down. Because that's how we're going to maintain and build our confidence, is if we are constantly doing things that we say we're going to do, and constantly like growing into the person that we want and getting more of what we want out of life. So we know what it's going to take. Like, we're all very smart people. We know what it's going to take. We know that it's going to take self-work. It's going to take personal development. It's going to take doing the physical tasks. So we have to set up routines that are going to hold us accountable. And if we are continuously breaking those, then we're just breaking our confidence in two, and we're going to be subject to reminded of how everyone else wants us to fail and how they don't believe in us. So we have to fight that, and we have to be proactive and put things in place to every day, multiple times a day, remind us of where we want to be, how we're going to get there, and that we have an obligation to ourselves, to our future children, to our futures. And yes, meaning in a positive way, exactly. And holding ourselves accountable to what we are going to create for ourselves. Because if not, then we're just going to be subject to whatever life is throwing at us. And like, we're not those type of people. We're not those type of people that just does what society wants us to do. Like, that's why we're in this business. So, 6-phase meditation, vision boards, journaling, gratitude practices, recognizing your self-talk, again, like using the affirmations, using sticky notes, reminders, podcasts. If you want recommendations for podcasts, reach out to your upline, reach out to me. People are also always dropping stuff in the Telegram chat, which is really dope. Again, our community is freaking amazing. So like, use us, find an accountability partner that's on the same wave as you, and connect with them and set up systems that you guys want to stick to and use each other. Chris just dropped some Ed Milet. Yeah, he's amazing. Brendan Burchard is one of my favorite. He has a, what do you call it? A like journal that you do every day, that really, really helps you, like, that really, really helps you basically score yourself daily on where you are spiritually, mentally, physically, with family and friends, with your career, and you literally score yourself daily, weekly, and monthly, and it really helps you keep yourself in check and allow yourself to continue moving forward and recognizing when you are doing good, because I feel like a lot of the times we're not feeling like we're doing enough too, and it can be discouraging. But when you are able to create those measurable goals, you start to be able to just, clap at your own wins. Like, it's super important to celebrate what you want to see more of. So that's a Russ quote. Yeah, and build your new support system and build confidence in your actions. So I think I went over basically, yeah, everything. But I talked for a pretty long time straight, and I appreciate all of you guys coming on. And I would also like to open it up for discussion. If you guys feel like you have any roadblocks that are coming up for you specifically, or any specific situations where like, my family thinks this or that, like, please share. Like, this again is always a safe space. Like, we've all of the leaders on this call and otherwise that aren't on this call have been through something that you're going through on some level. Like, we've been in this business for a while. We've had to fight the same roadblocks, and trust me, like, whatever you have to say, like, it's not going to be new and it's not going to be surprising. So just know that this is a safe space. And yes, I will stop recording. And thank you guys for hopping on, and have a great Monday.